Well, the time is now just over 4 o'clock. Wrestlemania 27 just came to a close. This is going to be my gut reactions because it's better that I give it to you now, you get my immediate reaction. And to describe this to you in this experience, it's a lot like having a one night stand, and there's a slight buzz about having one, and even afterwards. But then a few minutes later, all the other thoughts kick in. Maybe it wasn't so good after all. And then when you sleep in the next day and you wake up, you're like, I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. Now, let's start off. Uh, the setting looked amazing. The arena looked incredible. It always does every year. They always outdo themselves, I find. And, that's a big part of the spectacle, the way it's all set up. And I thought that was awesome. The Rock came out. And I'm happy to see The Rock back. I want to point that out. And he did his speech, which kind of did go on a little bit. And then the first match really surprised me because I thought they were going to do Cody and Ray, but they did Del Rio and Edge. And as far as what was going on in that match, it was a nice way to open the show. A good kind of fast-paced match. There was a nice little moment where Del Rio reversed a move Edge did, a roll-up into the armbar, which was pretty cool. Um, I was expecting Christian to get involved. I know some people were expecting a heel turn from Christian to have that Mania swerve, but that wasn't meant to be. When I realised that was the opener, then I knew that Edge was going to win, and I enjoyed that as an opener. Um, to be honest with you, looking at that now, you can now more or less say that the Royal Rumble spot doesn't mean much anymore when you win it, and now the Elimination Chamber probably will end up surpassing that. But they're, they're going to have a hard time selling people in the Royal Rumble when it comes around again, when, you know, the way it's presented and the way the winners are presented. Moving right on, I thought it was a good opener. Cody Rhodes and Rey Mysterio. I said I believe Cody was going to win because they need to do something with him to elevate him as a star. I actually felt that that was a good match, and it was a good back and forth match. I liked Rey's Captain America outfit, and I like the idea of what they're doing with Cody. But I don't know, maybe there's something missing there a little bit. But I do like what they're trying to do with him, and it was probably his best match in the WWE that he's had since he's been there. And I was happy to see Cody come out on the winning end, and I thought that was the wise move to make. Interesting that everyone 2 years ago thought DiBiase was going to be the breakout guy, but it looks like Rhodes is, already up there. Well, I'm not saying he's a main event guy yet. Then there was the Core versus the Big Show and Kane and Kofi and Morella match. I knew that was going to be pretty quick, and yeah, that went by without a hitch, just in and out very quickly. Um, I kind of feel bad for Kofi in a way that he had the support of the people in 2009. Does a lot of things, to kind of keep himself over, but he's never really been put in anything significant. And you've got to wonder this new talent initiative that they've harped on about. Is it just lip service, or are they really going to go full throttle with it? And then onto that, there was the Orton and CM Punk match. And I felt Orton really needed to have a good showing as a babyface. He's got the cool factor, he's got the look, but I felt that as a babyface, he has come up short. And I felt this was actually a nice way for Orton to go. I liked the body of the match. I liked the way they played into the leg injury, and I liked the way kind of things went up and down a bit. I liked CM Punk, in my opinion, should be the top heel in the entire company, and he should. You can't keep putting him in mid-level matches in a sense on WrestleMania when he's that good. And if you're trying to make people buy into him as a main eventer, he's going to need to headline at WrestleMania or be like on the top two matches of the show. I felt he was so good, the way he interacts with the crowd as a heel through his facials and his mannerisms. There was a great moment when Orton went for the RKO and he flipped right back out, and he was like a good. You can learn so much from that if you're an aspiring wrestler, because that right there shows it to me what it's all about. Punk is a great heel, and I think he has that mindset of, if I have to piss you off to make a bit of extra money, then so be it. Um, yeah, I mean that was good. I enjoyed that. Then this is where I started to feel like I was being dragged out. Now the Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler match had been built, and I felt that a lot of the TV for it had been very good. I was expecting maybe a short 5 to 6 minute thing with those two, and I actually will now compare this to Vince McMahon and Bret Hart, where it was something that went on for far too long, and not just the match, but the entire segment, and it really went on and on and on and on and on. And to me, it started to kill the momentum that had been built up through the first 3 to 4 matches, where there was a lot of buzz and a lot of buzz, and then it kind of slowed the card right down. Now I know that they like to structure shows like this, where they kind of bring it down and then bring it back up again, and this really pulled me out, and actually wasn't. I don't know anyone else who was watching it. Did they feel the same thing, that Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler thing really dragged on? It was good to see Jim Ross. It was good to see Steve Austin to an extent, and everybody else. But it just started going on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And you get to the point where it's like, well, enough already. Can this just hurry up and end? And it just really dragged on, and it took me out of the show a bit, actually, to be honest with you. Then we saw the Hall of Fame stuff going on, and that was nice to see the inductees. Uh, I want to say two things. Thank you, fans, for chanting boring during the Cole and Lawler match, and thank you, fans, for booing Drew Carey. I appreciate that very, very much. um, okay, what was next? The Undertaker Triple H match. Now, I said it will be interesting to watch to see how Taker was physically. And given the fact that it was a no holds barred match, it was probably the best thing for them to do, because having a straight match without that, I think they would have struggled a little bit. And they really needed to do something like, what they were doing, all the outside spots and all the tables and going for the tables and going through the cubicle and things like that. I felt that was what they needed to do to kind of, in a way, hide some of the shortcomings of both physically. And I felt psychological. Oh, can't even get the word out. Based on the story of it, I thought it was going very well, and Triple H was starting to look a little more ruthless. I will tell you this: I didn't really get into the match until the last 5 to 10 minutes, and the last 5 to 10 minutes were probably the best part of that entire match. I didn't have the same emotions about that match that I did with the last two Shawn and Taker matches. And to me, then, that may have meant that it wasn't the kind of match that we expected. Um, the ending was very good. I liked the way that they had the submission and Hunter's hand was on the sledgehammer. It looked like he was going to and then dropped it, but they kept his hand near enough to where you would think maybe he's going to bash him on the head. And they made it believable enough that he could possibly win. And, that was a good showing, and I thought that was good. It's funny, actually, that you'll be surprised me saying this. I've actually lost some respect for Undertaker, and that stems from the UFC show last year, and that's something I'll go on about later on. Um, as that match ended, I felt that it started to drag again when they were doing the thing with Taker, all down and not being able to get up, and even Hunter trying to move to get to him. I thought that was good, but then it started to drag again, and it was starting to take me out of the show again, which is a problem sometimes with the way you structure shows. You have to be careful when you do this, because if you overdo certain things, you start to get pulled out and not pulled in, and that's what you want to do with paying customers and spectators in the arena. Um, I wonder if anyone who was there live watching it or anyone else watching the show started to get like that at times and felt that it took a while to get back into the Undertaker Hunter match. Clearly, based on the way it was done, it was probably the best match there, and that's saying something. And then there was the celebrity wing of that, the Divas match, Snooki and Lakehall and Ziggler and Vicky versus Morrison and Snooki and Trish Stratus. Uh, I expected that to not get much of a reaction, and I expected that to be very, very quiet, and it was. And then there was one very interesting thing that I did pick up on. Where was Daniel Bryan? Now, this isn't just some standard internet wrestling fan going off on one, but I really question, you know, WrestleMania is one of the biggest shows of the year. Daniel Bryan has probably been the hardest working man there, and a lot of them worked very hard. But I felt that considering he was allowed to be buried for 13 weeks and he smiled about it on NXT, considering he was a company man, considering he got fired and didn't go on Twitter and make an idiot of himself, unlike Matt Hardy and other people had in similar positions. He was very quiet, played the political game very, very well when it came to that situation, has done everything they've asked, carried guys, brought the best out of guys, brought the best out of people that are not particularly good, and he's just, done the best he can all the time and made the most of everything they've given him. You'd think he'd at least get his Mania appearance. And I couldn't help but feel really bad for him. I felt that he should have at least been rewarded with that, that WrestleMania appearance and that immortalization of being on a WrestleMania. And that, took a little bit away from the card for me because I was really looking forward to seeing him on a WrestleMania and Sheamus. And I'll be kind of biased because you might not know this, I actually am half Irish, so I wanted to see one of our boys on there, but that was a shame. But I can't help but feel really bad for them. There was a great skit between The Rock and Steve Austin. There was a really lame skit with Pee Wee Herman, and it's really hard to care about anything that that man does when you realise that this is a man that got caught masturbating in a cinema, but, you know, who gives a shit about that guy? Then the main event. Right. When I think of WrestleMania main events, I think of, even though it wasn't the most aesthetically pleasing match, the Hogan and Warrior match, the Hogan and Andre the Giant match, the Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, the significance of Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels. I think of some others. WrestleMania main events are supposed to really just go out and deliver. And I felt they were very big on the video package for that, very big on the entrance for John Cena, which was good. The match started and it just took a while to get into it. And I think that Miz had become such an afterthought in the main event because of how he's been presented as an undeserving champion in a marked way and in a smart way that people kind of didn't particularly care. He was almost like a lamb to the slaughter. And when he came out and then Cena came out, it was like no one was really interested in what they were doing. It was like this. Okay, so when's Rock coming out? When's Rock coming out? Is he coming out yet? Is he coming out yet? That seemed to be the problem, and I felt that took away from the match. And I can't help but feel bad for Miz because he's a guy that's had to put up with a lot of things within that company. He's been mocked openly and publicly by people in the company in powerful positions. He's took it with a smile on his face. He created his own push, got himself over, and in a way, I don't think he gets the respect that he kind of deserves. And watching that and then seeing the double count out finish, I kind of just like, oh god, overkill. And then The Rock came out, the mystery GM thing hit, and really this main event actually seemed like a segment to set up another main event which had nothing to do with The Miz. So The Rock comes out, reads the GM message, dashes the laptop on the floor, gets in the ring, restarts the match. Rock got with Cena, Miz pins Cena, Miz wins 1, 2, 3. Let the guy have his moment. You know what I mean? Let the guy have his moment. Let Rock kind of stare at Cena in the ring, but let Miz walk out. And I'm a huge fan of The Rock, but this new talent initiative, if you want, the new guys to get over, they need to have their moments in the sun. And I felt like this was a segment to build up The Rock versus John Cena, which I would look forward to seeing, but at the same time, it came at the expense of The Miz. who was really an afterthought in that. And when that happened, it just, to me, it kind of felt flat. And yeah, to be honest with you, it really is like having a really unusual one night stand. It builds up, and then the orgasm was really bad. That's just how it seems to me. Um, all in all, what would I give this show? Maybe a 7 out of 10, which is not bad at all. It was just the last half of the show. It kind of went, had that Michael Cole thing been shortened, then maybe I wouldn't be thinking like this so far. And maybe when I wake up and I probably rewatch it again if I want to, maybe I'll feel differently about it. But I don't know anymore. The WrestleMania main event doesn't mean as much as it used to if they continue to do it like this. And the WrestleMania build-up is now being affected, I find. I think if this WrestleMania sold any buys, it was because of The Rock, and it was because people wanted to see what was going to happen with him there. And it's very, very clear to me now that they're going to do a Rock and John Cena match, so I think that's what they're building to. And I'm sure that will be great, but I can't help but feel bad for some of the young talent like The Miz, where something like this was done at the expense of those guys. Um, anyways, let me know what you all think. Did you enjoy WrestleMania? If you were there live, I'd love to hear what you have to say. Do you agree with things that I've said? Do you disagree with things I've said? Let me know. I'd love to hear it, and I hope you all actually had a good time. That's what we're all about, having fun here. So let us know what you think. And there is going to be some more videos coming. Um, I have it on the grounds that I've offended a few people, mainly the WWE officers themselves, and I actually have to make a public apology because they're threatening to take my videos down. So that's something that's coming in a few days. And anyways, let me know what you think, and peace. I hope everybody had a good time and everyone, finds some enjoyment in it somehow, some way. Take care, guys, and later.